Republicans in the House of Representatives are putting together a team that they say can help the nation get back on the road to economic recovery. Today, that team is launching a major effort to save taxpayer money by rooting out government waste and duplication. Let's talk about it with House Minority Leader John Boehner. He's just come out of that meeting. He joins us now on Capitol Hill. Congressman, let's talk about some of the results. First of all, you have found opportunities to eliminate waste?
Well, there are a lot of opportunities, and we have to remember that President Clinton challenged his cabinet to come up with $100 million worth of savings out of their different agencies.
President Obama.
This is several weeks ago.
I think you misspoke there.
President Obama.
Right.
And later that day, Eric Cantor, the chief, or our whip, and I were at the White House, and we suggested to the president that was a good start, but there's a lot more that we could accomplish. And so the president was interested in our ideas. We've been working on them. But there are a lot of areas where we've got waste. We've got $18 billion worth of excess federal property that agencies want to sell, but we've got all these rules and regulations that make it almost impossible for them to sell this. And so not only can't we sell it, but we have to continue to maintain it. And you can get on a long of issues. Take federal highway transit funds. We use the federal highway funds for museums, baseball parks, walking paths, all kinds of things that have nothing to do with improving our nation's highways.
But that's part of the stimulus. That's part of the stimulus bill, right? I mean, do you want to go back and reopen the stimulus bill and maybe try to get some of that money rescinded? Is that what you're saying?
If there's wasteful federal spending, the taxpayers expect us to find a way to stop it. And what we're going to do is identify as much of this as we can and present our ideas to President Obama.
Another one of your ideas is to just stop buying land. You said the federal government is buying all kinds of land, and maybe now is not the time to be spending money on that?
Well, no, we've got about $250 million in the budget for this year to buy more federal land for the Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Forest Service. In a lot of states, we own most of the property in those states. And we're doing this at a time when we've got about a $9 billion backlog in terms of maintenance. Maybe what we ought to do is to stop federal land purchases, or at least require the government, if they're going to buy more land, to put more land up for sale so that we're not wasting taxpayer dollars.
Well, if some of this call for a cut in wasteful spending came from the White House, it's a good sign if both Democrats and Republicans are on board with that idea, isn't it?
Well, I don't know that the president will agree with all of our findings. We're going to try to get him our ideas before Memorial Day. But we are going to outline for him a whole series of cuts to our budget. And I think that we'll find this report rather interesting.
Let me turn your attention to another item that is sort of roiling Capitol Hill right now. There's this draft report out there that suggests nobody really be prosecuted, but that some of the Bush administration lawyers who helped draft the procedures on enhanced interrogations, warning and that kind of thing, that they should be sort of professionally disciplined for rendering those opinions. What do you think about that?
Well, I just think that a new administration coming in and then looking back and trying to prosecute people for decisions that they made in their best judgment it's a process that's very dangerous in our country. We've never really seen this before. You know, we've had administrations come in every 4 years or every 8 years, but no one's ever been prosecuted for professional judgments that they made beforehand or been sanctioned by some professional organization. What's missing here is that the administration has no overarching plan for how we're going to keep Americans safe, and nor do they have a plan that outlines how we're going to deal with the terrorist threat that we're dealing with. And, you know, they've announced they're going to close Guantanamo, our detainee facility, without having any idea where these 240 prisoners are going to be housed, or under what conditions they're going to be tried.
That raises another question I wanted to ask you about. There are indications that maybe 100 or so of the Yemeni contingent who are at Guantanamo Bay right now might wind up going to Saudi Arabia. What do you think about that?
Well, I am concerned that if we do find a host country for these detainees, that we have some confidence that they'll be held. You know, we had detainees that were being held in Yemen as a result of the USS Cole bombing. But several years later, they mysteriously were able to break out of jail. And so sending these 90 detainees from Yemen back to Yemen would be a very bad idea.
But I guess the question is, you know, did the Obama administration put the cart before the horse in declaring that Guantanamo be closed without coming up with a realistic plan about where to put these people?
Well, that's the whole point. The Bush administration was trying to find a way to close down Guantanamo, but they couldn't resolve how they were going to keep Americans safe. They couldn't figure out what to do with these prisoners, nor under what conditions some of them ought to be tried. And to have made this a campaign commitment and then kept this campaign commitment, I think puts Americans in jeopardy.
House Minority Leader John Boehner, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.